actually fucking hear my own thoughts. Oh, because this is not going to be a long topic, but it is going to be a big topic. So I want to make sure that I'm like thinking about what to talk about. Okay, so number one piece of advice I have for anybody who, especially in their late teens and beyond, so anybody who's actually properly a young adult to adult. Like this is going to sound so sad, but like everybody's already experienced it, so it's fine. Everybody who's here has already experienced it, so it's fine. You are going to hate your art, you're going to suck. Everything is going to look terrible. That will never change. That's not why you do art. That's not the point. And the reason it feels like that is because when you're a child, you don't have all of those like preconceptions, you don't have all of those expectations. You're just doing it, right? And that's something that like everybody's like, "Oh, get your inner child out, just draw, don't think about it." You're never going to do that because it is almost impossible to do that. You'd have to like brainwash yourself because like we're human beings, we're always going to overthink things. It's just that as a kid, we were overthinking like all of the shit from the cartoon, not all of the criticisms about our like skill level, right? So like that step one is anytime you look at a tutorial from somebody who is trying to help a beginner, remember that they are not a beginner. Remember that they do not have that same like childhood spark. They are not going to remember what that feels like. Or maybe they have like a vague recollection of it, but that is the number one thing that I think I struggled with for a really long time. I did art in school. I went to college for art. I've been doing commissions for however many years. Like I still look up beginner art tutorials because the thing that you get out of them is not like, "Oh, I'm a beginner. I need to like learn this basic skill." It is, "This is a basic skill. I need to learn this." It doesn't matter that you're a beginner. It just matters that it's something really really basic that is like fundamental and useful. So that's step 1 is like beginner doesn't exist. Because like you've consumed art. You have commissions. I know that Pranzo in particular has art because I drew it. Right? Like you have experienced art from outside. You have created things with your hands, even if it's just like baked goods or if it's like drawing like a little stick man so that you can explain something to a coworker. Like everybody has done some amount of art. So there is no such thing as like a beginner status because like unless you're actually a literal child, you have already experienced and created something. So, that is the important thing I think to remember is that you cannot be a beginner. But I mean, you are a beginner in the sense that like you are beginning your journey, right? But you're not a beginner in terms of like you have never seen or consumed or started or tried to do art before. Because I feel like that's the conception that like freaks people out because they're like, I'll never be that good because I'm down here and they're up there. When in reality, like you just have different skills that you've learned over time and like some skills are higher than others, but that doesn't mean that like you're not somewhere in the same realm of like needing to learn a skill because like let's say like oh gosh, I'm trying to think of an artist that is more, let's go with Leonardo da Vinci, right? This is my favorite example, by the way. I'm not good at art history for whatever reason. Since I went in the drawing track in high school, I didn't learn art history because that was only for people in the painting track, which was really stupid because we were in the same room. Um, but I'm not good at art history. I'm not going to remember most people's names. However, do you want to know what the most interesting thing to me about the Mona Lisa is? She's got like one hand over here. the other hand over here, and she's got like her weird veil or whatever, and her very subtle missing eyebrows. And there's like hills in the background, right? Something like that. She does have eyebrows, maybe. Either they're very light or that was actually a fashion at the time. I forget. There was some like fucking contention about it. Do you know what the most interesting and hilarious thing to me about Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa is? It is a neutral expression facing left. I don't know if you guys have been around other artists, but that is like the joke that everybody fucking draws a facing left neutral expression because that is the easiest thing in the world to fucking draw. Like a 3/4 view. Oh my gosh, Manny is also rating me. Hello. But yeah, like the joke with artists is that the most basic thing you can do is a neutral 3/4 facing left. Unless you are left-handed, in which case it would be facing the opposite way. It would be going that way. Because this is going to go into the next like broad level. You are going to be hyper aware of it now, and it's going to haunt you forever. Whichever your dominant hand is, you're more likely to draw something facing the other direction. Because if I was to flip this around, if I was to draw a face here, right? I'm going to start left and go right. So that means that if I do this, my hand is covering up less of the drawing. Because my hand, if I was to draw like where my hand is, so we've got the pen here, and that's my index finger and my thumb, right? So I can see more of the face because my hand is to this side. So it's more like it's easier to put details in because I'm not trying to like overlap where my hand is. So you will go onto artists' galleries and you're going to notice this. You're going to not necessarily know outright, but you're going to be able to guess if they are right-handed or left-handed by how often they draw a face going a certain direction. But that leads into my next topic, which is learn how you draw. So before you learn actual drawing, Leonardo might be left-handed. I'm not sure. Again, it's not a permanent rule. It's just like you are very likely to do this. He may have been left-handed. I'm not sure. Oh, Setsuna, hello. But yeah, by learn how you draw, what I mean is like one of the best things that you can do as a beginner artist. I want to do this as like a secondary bullet point for this one is mechanical skill. Because like let's say that I have because one of the best websites for this is drawabox.com. It's a website that's literally made
Semi-Solid
like,
Werewolf
learning
gifted a
basic
tier 1
mechanical
sub
drawing
to
skills.
Pronzo. They have given 2 gift subs in the channel.
Oh, thank you, Saiger, for gifting sub to Pronzo. But yeah, drawbox.com is my recommendation. The problem I have with Drawbox is not that it's a bad website. It's incredible. But it requires a lot of self-discipline, which I know me having recently found out like within the past year and a half that I have ADHD.
Pronzo gifted a tier 1 sub to Mirrorung. This is their first gift sub in the channel.
Hard for me, and I imagine it's difficult for a lot of people to do self-study Because it's basically like trying to be your own teacher, which is really hard to do. Because like you have to keep yourself accountable, you have to try and like grade yourself. Like it's a lot of work. Going to school is easy because you just do the thing and then somebody else tells you if it's right or not, and then you can fix it. But when you're trying to learn on your own, you're doing the scheduling, you're doing everything. So it's much harder. Which is the hard part with Drawbox, because Drawbox is like self-taught. So like it gives you a bunch of practice exercises that you can do, but it leaves actually doing it up to you. But there's a lot of really, really good exercises on there if you do want to do them, and they're very, very helpful. So like one of them is I drew a bunch of lines here, right? And like one of the things that you do is practice drawing straight lines going from point A to point B. And you want them to be consistent line width. And then they will do ones where you like practice stylus pressure if you want to do that. They'll practice like curves. So like how well can you consistently draw a circle where the ends actually touch? You can see that it's something that I'm kind of okay at, but I haven't practiced a lot. There's a lot of wobbliness. I don't do it very quickly. The ends don't always meet up super pretty. Most of the time that doesn't matter, but the point of practicing it is not can you draw a perfect circle, it's can you get better at drawing circles. Like same thing with video games. If like I've been playing Valorant, I've been doing aim training in Valorant. The point is not can I hit 100% of everything, because that's weird. It's can I get a higher percentage than last time? Can I do it faster than last time with the same amount of accuracy? Like that's the stuff that you're doing, is you're building skill. So when I say learn how you draw, like mechanical stuff is part of that. Practicing how to do line work is useful. It is a mechanical skill that you want to learn to improve at. But knowing that I draw with my left hand, and therefore I'm always going to have an easier time drawing a curve going from top to bottom, left to right, means that now I can rotate the canvas if I want to draw a different curve. And it will be a lot easier for me to draw that. I'm not fighting against what my body naturally wants to do. So because I'm using my right arm, like you can see that I have like a clockwise and counterclockwise arc. So if I try to draw an arc that goes against that natural curve, like this way, I'm now drawing to where I cannot see. And I'm also drawing against my natural rotation of my arm. So like, again, we're getting into like stuff that's very mechanical. It's less about like learning to draw. But that's the point. Is like this is all stuff that gets really overlooked when you're looking up basic how to draw videos, because they're trying to teach you like fundamentals of like building shapes and stuff like that. They're not teaching you how to use your body to make it more comfortable. And Deacon, I don't know if you already hopped out. You have not. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for stopping in. So like, if I know that this line is easier for me to draw than this line, then I know that, like, let's say that I'm drawing a circle, right? And I need to draw like the side of, we've got a character with a snout here, right? If I'm doing the line art of this edge of the face, it's going to be easier for me to turn it upside down and do this. That's going to get me a cleaner line than if I tried to do this. Unless I've actually like gone and practiced doing lines in every single direction, there's going to be one that feels more natural to you. And finding out how like to be comfortable when you're drawing makes it way easier to draw. Because like this line is really easy for me to draw because it's going with that arc of my arm that I talked about before. If I tried to go down, like I can do that, but now I'm drawing to where I can't see. So it's easier for me to go up and to the left than it is for me to go down and to the right. And like that's the whole idea behind like again, like karate. You have a certain form in karate where you have to put your knees, like you don't want to hyperextend your knees, because then if you land on them, then you're going to potentially injure them. So you always want to have like a little bend there. There's like holding baseball bats the correct way. Like there's mechanical skill involved in everything that is considered a skill, whether that be sports, whether that be art, whether that be a career. So like having a basic idea of like how to do that comfortably also means that you can draw longer. And if you draw longer, then you practice more because you're not going to have like fucking carpal tunnel and mad arthritis when you're old. Okay. So that's like the two things. Is one, don't try to avoid thinking of yourself as a beginner. Try to avoid letting somebody who like is trying to make other beginner content, like if you cannot see yourself, if somebody's like, here's how to draw a face, look how easy it is to draw a face, and you're like, I can't do that, that's so hard. That is what I'm trying to say, is like they're not a beginner. If they are teaching you how to do something, that means that they are already past the beginner stage. So what you want to take away from them is not, this is how beginners do things. It is like, let me try and understand why they're doing it. Let me see how they're doing it. So like if somebody's like, oh, if you want to draw a head, draw a box and then split the box into thirds. And then now you have your eyes, your nose, and your mouth, right? Why are they splitting it up into a box? A lot of times they don't explain that to you. They're just like, use shapes. Use shapes. What does use shapes mean? Why can't I just directly draw the nose and the eyes and the mouth? Why can't I do that? Well, you can. That's the problem. They're trying to teach you fundamentals, but they don't necessarily know how to explain why to do the fundamentals. The reason why boxes are really useful as building blocks for doing other things in art, and the whole reason why Draw a Box exists in the first place and teaches you how to draw boxes in three-dimensional space, is because it teaches you how to represent 3D forms in a 2D space, which is all drawing is you're just saying, okay, I want this object to look three-dimensional. So I'm going to draw it so that it has form, which is like one of the art pillars or whatever. I'm going to draw it so that it has some type of form so that I can see it as though it's three-dimensional. And that helps us like know like how shadows get placed and all of the other stuff that comes afterwards. If they just tell you to draw a box, that's not helpful, because now it's just, okay, I'm drawing a box, and then they draw a circle, draw the rest of the owl, right? Why am I drawing a box? Okay, so one, to make it so that it's obvious that it's three-dimensional. Two, because it helps with lighting. And lighting and form are like two of the most fundamental things that you can learn, even if you're just doing cartooning, right? Like Steven Universe, and most Cartoon Network shows or whatever. I don't even remember what his nose looks like. Is it up like that? I forget. This feels like a Captain Underpants character. Like, these characters are really, really simple, right? They don't have a lot of form because they don't have like a lot of, they're focusing on very, very round shapes. Gives them a lot of wiggle room to like do funny shapes. But if you look at the nose, which direction is the nose facing? Well, it's facing up. How do we know that? Because this curve goes up. So if I wanted to turn this into a 3D shape, well, now I know that the shadow would be on the top. And now it looks vaguely round. And then like also we have the light. So now we know that the shadow is going to go around this because it's a ball. So like there's still fundamentals going on there. It's a cartoon character. It's really, really simplified. Half the time it doesn't even have lighting. But it still is based on some basic three-dimensional shape. That's why everybody calls it a bean, right? Because if I was to draw like a Gravity Falls character, same thing. They actually have a lot more form, but like we know from these shapes that this cheek is going out and this is down. So now we know if the shadow is there, it goes around this side. Nose, same thing. We can put a little shadow for the nose, eyes. No, I don't know how to draw Gideon. Are you kidding me? I'd have to draw like his big fucking pompadour or whatever. So that would be, I guess. Is it this layer that I want? I just need to merge these. This is becoming a mess. Right click, merge. There we go. So now I can grab all of these and bring it over here. But yeah, like what does Mona Lisa have going for her? She's got a bunch of really baggy clothing that's very, very dark. She's got like a really, really light veil that barely anybody could see, and most people didn't even know was there until they cleaned the painting. It's got her face, and then it's got like a really, really basic kind of abstract landscape. That's not a lot, right? Like it's really well done, but it's not a lot. Like not every drawing has to be like 5-character full background. It doesn't need to be the fucking what's the other Leonardo piece, like Last Supper or whatever. It's not even that less is more. It's just like you want to make sure that you're not getting in your head that everything needs to be like this big gigantic project. You can have fun doing little things. You can have fun like just drawing a character facing to the left. Like you can have big aspirations for something that you'd like to work on. But again, like as somebody who is newer to art, it can be very, very easy to overwhelm yourself. So like, again, remember that beginner art is not beginner art. It's just art that is like more foundational. It's art that is building up the ability to do more stuff. So if you're doing really, really simple stuff, it doesn't mean that it's bad or that it's worse than some overly complicated thing. It just means that it's more foundational and it's simpler. So that is 3. Not what, but why. So again, if somebody's like, oh, draw leaves like this, that doesn't help you. That's one of 5,000 ways to draw leaves. Why are they doing it that way? Draw a head using a box. You don't have to. You don't have to use a box. Why are they using a box? That like this is the stuff that just conceptually is going to make you better at art and also help you improve faster. Because like everybody's just like study, practice, draw more. But at the end of the day, like knowing why you're doing that is really good. So like, why are you drawing? Are you drawing because you want to have fun? Are you drawing because you want to like make gifts for people? Are you drawing because there's an idea in your head that you've had that you really, really want to portray and have other people like be able to see what you're thinking about in your head? Like there's a lot of reasons for why to do something in the first place. Not to mention like why somebody would want to draw that thing. Like why, okay, Here's a good one. Why do I like drawing goo? Why am I known as like being the goo person? Why do I literally have an emote that is goo? Why? Why? Like outside of the like really fucking basic ass bitch answer of like I think it's hot. Like the reason why I really enjoy painting and drawing it is because it's a material that can take on so many different shapes and so many different lighting scenarios that it challenges me in a way that a lot of other art doesn't. Because if I learn how to draw like fucking Nickelodeon slime really well, what does that help me do? That helps me draw rain, that helps me draw waterfalls, that helps me draw people crying. Potentially can help me draw hair because, you know, liquid is going to splash or flow the same way that hair would if it's like being blown by the wind or whatever. Like there's a solid reason for me enjoying drawing that and why I draw it. Like outside of just ooh, it's fun and nice. But also fun and nice is a good enough reason by itself. Okay. Now we get into the actual tips. We'll put them here since I made the lines earlier. So first thing I recommend, find something you really like. Step 1. Find something you really like. Men. God damn it, Joe. Fair enough. Also, hi, Carl. Yeah, so first, find something you really like. So for example, there's a couple things that I really like. I really like Legend of Zelda. That's why I have like a wolf link that I tried to doodle here. I really like Sky. He's my Fursona. Why would I not like him? I really like Cyrus because he's my other Fursona. Why would I not like him? I really like really, really angular line work. I love how this is some studies that I did yesterday, by the way. So this is Kiander's stuff and this is Alcerez's stuff. I think I said their names correctly, but I was studying their art because I really like how angular a lot of their line work is compared to my own. They also are really, really good about like mixing in soft edges. So they've got this nice transition here. If I look at the stuff that's shaded, you can see that they've got like a really nice soft shadow in the chin, on the nose. But then they've also got the really like sharp edge right here. So they have a good like eye for mixing those things together. So, you know, I went from subject matter that I really like. I like drawing sky. And I took that and I went, I really like angular things. And then I took that and I went, I really like this person's way of rendering. And hopefully you see where I'm going with this, but if not, then to clear it up, basically like if you find something that you really, really enjoy, like just a topic or an object or a character, and you start drawing them a lot. And this is actually something that I forget where I read about it. It may be a YouTube video, it may be like an actual book, I don't know. But basically somebody was told, so somebody was asked what they like. And they said that they liked some sort of bird. I forget what bird it was. And the person was like, "Okay, draw that bird every day. Draw the one thing every single day." And the thing is, like, they started drawing it a lot, but then they were like, "That's boring. What if I add this? What if I add that? What if I draw it in a different style?" Like they naturally started shifting and growing and expanding what they were working on because they were still drawing something that they liked. But they didn't want to draw the same thing all the time because that's boring. We naturally tend to like variety. So if for example you really like fucking Fortnite, draw something from Fortnite, and it doesn't have to be a character. It can be like a fucking back bling or whatever. So find something you really like too. Draw it a lot. Yeah, we're talking about drawing. So number 1, find something you really like. 2, draw it a lot. And this comes with an asterisk. You will draw it a lot. Like I said at the very fucking beginning, beginner doesn't exist. And even before I said that, I said you will hate your work. So you're not drawing it because you want it to be good. Don't do that. Draw it because it's fun. Draw it because you like the thing and you want to draw it. Not because you expect it to be like fucking Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. I doubt this was even his favorite piece. He probably got done with this after like fucking 16 days of having some lady sit in a chair and drawing like the most fucking neutral expression, the most basic background, and then the man went on to do Last Supper. Like, clearly this was not his favorite piece. Everybody fucking loves the Mona Lisa. I doubt Da Vinci loved the Mona Lisa. So that's the trick though. Why should you do Drawbox? Okay, so here's the fucking thing about Drawbox. Drawbox will be like, okay, here's like some exercises for drawing straight lines better. How? Not what are you doing, but why are you doing it? What are these? These are straight lines. Why are you doing it? Maybe fucking because like Wendell Fortnite has a really long nose. Whoa, crazy. We now took this thing that we learned over here and applied it directly to the thing that we really like. Because now we can draw that really long snoot and we don't have to do all of the little garbage like lines that people do when they're first learning to sketch. Because like, trust me, there's nothing inherently wrong with this, but it will like, you'll look at this and you'll be like, okay, this was really scratchy. Like I kind of see what they were going for, but it's not clean, right? Like that's just like how everybody starts drawing. It's really easy to do that. And it's not inherently a bad thing. It's just like long confident strokes look nicer, generally speaking. So like the reason why you practice drawing long lines is because now you can draw Wendell Fortnite better. The reason you want to draw a box is because, well, now what is Wendell Fortnite's nose? It's a really overly simplified box. So we've got the nose here. And then we've got his head, which is just another box. So like that's why I wanted to say find something you really like first before I went into the mechanical stuff. Because 3 is now make your practice include the thing for profit. Because I should wrap up this topic. But yeah, like literally one of the ways that I got better at practicing environments, like I really wanted to get better at drawing like houses. That was a big thing for a while. I wanted to draw cliffs with rocks that actually look like rocks. And one of the ways that you're supposed to like render rocks out, and like you can tell I haven't practiced in a while, in fact, is like you want them to be a bunch of like intersecting blocks. Because rocks are faceted. It might have more facets, it might have less facets, but it's usually like a collection of hard edges, and then you can shade them appropriately. So like we've got all of these downward facing pieces, and then we've got all of the midtones, then we have all the upward facing pieces. So I really wanted to draw a good rock because the thing I was drawing next to the rock was something that I really like, which was a waterfall. And waterfalls for me were literally just this for a long time. It was just like a line going over an edge and then like a big puffball of like the bottom of the waterfall. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, I want to make I really like clouds. Like that's literally where Sky's name came from. And I really like drawing all of the like mist at the end of the waterfall. Why don't I learn how to draw clouds? And then, oh, wouldn't you have it? Clouds are literally just fucking boxes. Right? And this was something that like I didn't even really pay attention to until I've been on planes in the past like 2 years. But like clouds are 3-dimensional a lot of the times, especially like Nimbus clouds. They have a shaded bottom, and then they have like a side that is more directly facing the light and a side that is less directly facing the light. And then you just fluff this up, right? So I learned how to draw really nice clouds because I wanted to draw good waterfall mist, and I wanted to draw good waterfall mist because I wanted to draw good waterfalls because I like waterfalls. And so I had this whole progression of like, I'm just going to doodle things on a sticky note. It's just going to be like a little forest or whatever. So I've got like a cliff and there's a waterfall and the waterfall is misty. And then I've got like a little river coming off of it. And I was just like, this is really nice. This is like a nice thing. I really like this idea, this scene in my head. I'm going to draw all of the stuff around it. But because I really just liked this concept and drew it a lot as a kid, just on sticky notes or on receipt paper when I was working at Target, like I wanted to make little parts of it better. And so eventually I got better at drawing like rocks. I got better at drawing grass that was like going over the edge of stuff. I got better at drawing like pine tree silhouettes because trees actually come in like so many different shapes and proportions, and like how you draw those proportions like will make it look, because you know, for example, a ponderosa pine is more round. It still has like the kind of like pine tree shape, but the silhouette is more round, whereas like a spruce tree is more like a triangle. And so because I wanted to draw trees in my scene that looked different to kind of like add diversity to the background, like I learned really basic, okay, well this is a round shape, this is a triangle shape. And then because I learned how to draw 3-dimensional shapes from stuff like Drawbox and from the practice that I did in college and everything else, I was able to apply this. So we have a cone, right? That means that all of this side is going to be in shadow. This side is going to be lit, and then we have all the shadows on this side of the branches. Now we can realistically portray a 3-dimensional tree. Even though this is a sketch, it took me like what, 5-10 seconds. I was able to make something that looks like it has form and volume because of just the basic skill of make this a triangle. What 3D shape is a triangle? So like, yeah, sky. Let's use sky as an example. Okay. Like you can see when I do my basic structure for sky, what am I drawing? I'm drawing a circle to get an idea for where the general mass of the head is. I'm drawing a line for the center so that I know which direction is forward. And then I draw an upside down pentagon because this is where his cheek fluff lives. And this is where his forehead lives. So then I can draw the stuff coming off of it. I can draw the snout. And the snout has three-dimensional shape, so like his cheeks maybe like that. And then like the positioning of the eyes, that stuff gets into like, you know, the practice of, okay, here is anatomically correct golden ratio, whatever the fuck, male head, where like you put a line halfway down and that's where the eyes go. And then you draw two like third lines below that, and then that's where the nose is and the mouth. And then the mouth goes to like to the where the pupils are in the eyes. And you got eyebrows or whatever, and then you've got the forehead like hairline. And so like that gets me pretty dang close to a realistic human head proportion, right? So I can take this because like I have like a basic understanding of like, okay, human head usually has one eye width between the two eyes, but that's so granular. That's details. That's not stuff that is going to be exciting to draw, right? But like if I say, okay, I want to draw Sky, how do I draw Sky's eyes correctly? Well, let's put one eye width between them. And this one is a little bit skinnier because it's like wrapping around the head. And that looks like more correct if we're talking about realistic proportions, right? But that's also why, again, you don't want to just follow instructions absentmindedly. Why are the eyes this far apart usually? Why are we being told to do that? It's because it's more proportionally correct to what we expect the average human to look like. But I mean, there's probably plenty of artists that you guys know who draw eyes like fucking this, right? This isn't wrong because they're close together. Okay, Pronzo, any questions? I know I just like went on a tirade for like fucking 30 minutes. I don't know, hopefully that helps. Cuz yeah, I feel like it's really easy for a lot of people when they're trying to give advice to beginners to like talk about mechanical skill or things to practice instead of like trying to narrow down why. Because like there's clearly a reason that you want to draw, right? Like otherwise you wouldn't do it. Because like me, because like let me go ahead, and I've done this a few times, but so like the way that I used to draw Sky, like early high school, mid high school, um was like this. Because Sky used to be a koala. But yeah, he just looked like this. And then I'd draw like neck or whatever, and then I'd draw like a really, really basic hoodie. And then eventually he started wearing glasses because I started wearing glasses in high school. But you can see there's no form here. Like I tried really hard to draw it the way that I would have back then. Like the ears are kind of misaligned or whatever. Um you can still tell that the way that I was drawing this, I still had some like basic level of familiarity with drawing just because I had drawn a lot. I drew a lot in middle school. I was taking a drawing course in high school. Um so like I still knew to do the head with the center lines or whatever. I knew to put the eyes however far apart. Um but like the mouth was just me connecting it to the nose. All of the stuff around the head was just absent-minded fluff. Like it didn't have a direction that it was going. The hair was just kind of like a big spiky mess. It still looked good though. Like you guys would look at this and you'll be like, he's cute, right? So like my apprehensions about it looking gross are on me, not on like the final product. And that's same thing I've been having issue with lately. But like if I try to draw Koala Sky nowadays, like I know, okay, we're going to give the nose a little bit more form. The nose actually connects to the mouth in like a non like the mouth doesn't just come out of the nose. There's some amount of like connection there. This whole thing is like its own sort of like sphere. So you get the little like muzzle shape. And then at some point, it's been a long time now, so I don't remember exactly. But I even looked up like I started drawing the eyes a little bit farther apart, and trying to get that to work, just because koalas do have their eyes a little bit farther apart. And then I would block in. Okay, this is it. This is like the area above the eye, right? So that's that like big eyelid area. So then I would draw like the shapes so that they're actually like coming off of places, right? So like the smile actually has like a muzzle around it. It feels more three-dimensional. And it's funny because he actually looks a bit less like a koala here, but you guys get the point. Like the ears, I'd be like, okay, well, they actually come out of something. So I actually started using and this is again just like rules that you can make up for yourself, right? Is like for eyes, I got really used to taking the curve of the eye into the eyebrow and then using that for like figuring out roughly where to place the ears. So that was just like a really basic shortcut. Like it's not like proportionally perfect or whatever, but it's a shortcut that is like good enough to get a believable result. And like this looks so much different than this one, but it's the same character. And you can tell that it's the same character because there's still enough of the original character's design there. He's just like much cleaner because my skill improved me wanting to draw him better. And I still like drawing him. He was my first version of Sky, but I still really like drawing him because he's like a fun character and he's genuinely still like part of stuff that I grew up with. Okay, let me read chat now. And yeah, Kim, you are free to bother me about anything that you missed. And Luminata, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm curious, you feel free not to like go out of your way to say what it was, but if you want to say why you think you haven't been drawing, feel free. I have no idea how to highlight sections. I'm not good at Twitch. Pronzo, I started drawing because I've always wanted, oh god. Fucking the mod things are showing up because I clicked on it and it's hiding stuff. I started drawing because I've always wanted to throughout my life, but I would always get frustrated and stop. This time around, I made some good progress in a month, but I worked too hard and burned out. Yes. And that is, I think, the other aspect of it that is why I've gone through, because I want to be clear, I have not drawn anything up until these past 2 streams. I had drawn one thing, and it is this. This is the most I have drawn outside of these 2 streams in 4 weeks, and this is not done. It's not even in a state that I'm happy with personally. Like there's a lot about the position of the shapes. The lighting is not what I wanted it to be. Like me being burnt out for a bit and me not wanting to draw, a lot of that comes from the fact that I didn't know what to draw. Notice how I just said, figure out what you like to draw. I have stuff I can draw. I just need to do that. And that was like the thing that was bothering me for a long time. And that was the thing that, like, the first thing I did last stream was I literally drew fucking Sky. I drew an icon of Sky because I love drawing Sky. He makes me happy. So like I did that, and wow, look at that. Now I've drawn Cyrus. I've drawn, yeah, these were actually the things that I did before I even drew him. I drew Sky, and then I drew Cyrus, and then I drew that. And then that led me into doing these studies. So then I was drawing these characters from the studies and like noting down that I really liked. They use a soft brush with an eraser to get all of their like shadow shapes. They use a block-in brush to actually make the fur before they render it in. Which was really cool. Let me show you guys that, because like you don't have to worry about this right now, but it is just really cool. Is like they literally draw like these. And you can do this with a brush in Clip Studio. You can do this with layer effects. But like I can just go in here and like erase part of this, right? And then like go back to the brush and then layer something on top of it. Like that. Look at how cool this is. Like, and it's not super good because I don't do this as like my like normal way of drawing, right? But I was able to look at the way that they did all of the tufts of fur on this character's cheek and just be like, okay, it's just that. And then they chopped that part off. That's all it was. This right here, like you can see these 2 shapes. It's literally just that. Like they drew 2 lines and then they erased the part so that they had like a nice pretty clump. And it was just like me looking at this and being like, how would I do this? Can I figure out what they're doing? And to be fair, I knew that they used this kind of brush because I've seen this brush used just like in random YouTube videos I watched from like other artists just being like, oh, how do they do light? And then I find out that they use this weird block-in brush for hair. I'll watch a video about fur and then they'll talk about like how to light it. There's like lots of stuff where, again, if you find the one thing that you really want to do, it'll lead you to all of the other stuff that you don't know. Oh, you didn't derail my stream. Like I literally didn't have anything planned. Like if I had something planned, I probably would have done something else. There's stuff I can work on, but I don't have anything planned. But yeah, like again, me drawing Sky yesterday and like feeling good about drawing Sky and all of that shit. What did I draw today? I drew fucking Cygear eating a lemon. To be fair, that was a stream request, so that wasn't like me coming up with an idea, right? But I drew it, and I was able to use all of the stuff that I draw from Sky to draw Cygear. I drew Wolf-Link because I've been playing Zelda. Wow, I like Wolf-Link. But also, how do draw Wolf-Link well? Oh, I have to look up reference because Wolf-Link has like cool design. And then I have to figure out how to put that design on a 3D shape because the forehead is, you know, blocky like this, which means that the design has to go like up and around this block. So like I took the thing that I like doing and then I made it into like a bigger and broader idea of what I actually could do. If you look at people who know how to draw ass really well, like in furry stuff, chances are if you're like fucking really good at drawing booty, right? Booty. What else do you think this person is probably going to be pretty good at drawing? How about river stones? Because it's the same shape, it's the same lighting. Half the time it's the same fucking like amount of humidity. If somebody's really good at drawing anime girl hair, what are they probably also pretty decent at drawing? They'd probably draw a fucking flower incredible. Because it's a lot of the same shapes, it's a lot of the same like skills. So yeah, just like that's why that's why I avoid saying that there's actually such a thing as a beginner. I like alongside the Da Vinci example of like Da Vinci draws basic lady facing left, like there are things that I am better at drawing than people who are experts. There are things that I am more familiar with drawing than people who have better technical skill than me. Like Pronzo, you go on hikes a lot, right? So chances are you probably have way more footage and way more reference material for like mountains than a lot of concept artists do. Because concept artists a lot of times are going to be people like me who are indoors most of the time. So they're going to have to like look up pictures, but the thing is that you have pictures and then you also have like the actual recollection of like the shape of the mountain and everything else, right? So like that's a skill that you have that an artist that has higher technical skill probably does not. I definitely know how to draw Sky better than anybody else cuz I fucking made him. So like again, I'm not a beginner for drawing Sky because I made Sky. if I draw fucking Pikachu, right? So many people have drawn Pikachu. And I'm actually pretty fucking good at drawing Pikachu because, like, guess what? My username on fucking Twitch and Steam for several years was Ninjachu. So I literally just drew Pikachu with a fucking mask over his mouth. And it's not even because Pikachu's my favorite Pokemon. I was just trying to think of like Pokemon that you could combine the word ninja with because I was in karate. And I was like, wow, I want to be a ninja. That's fucking cool. And I was watching Ninja Warrior and there was like fucking Jackie Chan adventures on TV. Like it was the time. It was the time to be into ninjas. And then I never got into Naruto. But like I learned how to draw Pikachu by copying out of the fucking like those old Pokédex books that they sold at school fairs because I bought those and they were fucking rad because I liked Pokemon. So I was just like, I'm gonna draw these Pokemon from this book. And like I started with tracing because I was just like, I just want to like make this look good. And then I started practicing without tracing because I was like, okay, well, tracing is boring. So I'm going to learn how to draw it myself. So I'm going to try and copy this image because I want it to be close to the original, but I don't want to trace it. And then I started drawing Pikachu in my own poses, and now I can just draw Pikachu without even looking at reference and have it be close enough to be recognizably Pikachu, even if it's not like canon on model bullshit, right? And I can even give him like a mystery dungeon scarf. Make him there. Oh wow, look at that. Now I have a Pikachu. I can even give him whiskers if I want to. Because mice in real life have whiskers. I can draw little zappies coming out of the cheeks. Look at that. I took Pikachu, something really basic that I like. I drew it, and then I was like, okay, what if I make him like a ninja? It's gonna have like a headband or whatever, right? And then I drew like that fucking like always in the wind shit. Cause yeah, like I don't this isn't the best drawing of Pikachu that I could do. It doesn't need to be. It makes me happy. The reason that I was getting really, really stressed for a long time about art and why I was not wanting to do it was because like I didn't know what to draw to make myself happy that wasn't Sky. Um and that was the thought that was stressing me out is like I have to come up with ideas. I have to be better at brainstorming, be better at like doing creative things. Um and then just I drew Sky. Suddenly I feel better, right? Like I didn't have to go to all of this energy and like doing all of this research and watching people who are better than me tell me what to do and how to fix my brain or whatever. Like I just needed to do the thing that actually made me want to draw in the first place. Because if I don't enjoy drawing, then why the fuck would any advice that somebody else gives me matter? If I don't care about why I'm learning to draw a straight line, what good is practicing drawing a straight line? But when I say, okay, I want to learn how to draw a straight line because it helps me with this thing that I want to do, suddenly drawing a straight line is the most exciting thing I can do. I can fill a whole page of straight lines because it's cool. It like it helps me be better at the thing that I wanted to do in the first place. No, and you're like genuinely, that's why I like talking about this stuff, because again, me talking about it reinforces the fact that I actually know all of this and that I just need to apply it myself as well. Cause like I said, I've been fucking depressed and haven't drawn in 4 weeks, 3.5. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to put pen on paper, right? It is hard because it's a task. It's a thing that you have to do. If you make it a task that you have to do instead of just, I want to do it because it's fun. I've been playing fucking Valorant a lot lately, and the reason I've gotten into Valorant so much is in part because like it forces me to practice a skill because I want to be good at Valorant. So I go into the firing range and shoot at the same fucking target for 30 minutes because I want to have more fun when I'm playing the main game. And I know that that's how to get there. So like it again, it applies to more than just drawing. And that's like my biggest takeaway from all of this, right? Is like skill growth and adaptation never applies to just the one skill that you want to learn. I'm really good at I was an incredible QA tester when I was still doing QA testing at work. Do you know why I was an incredible QA tester? Because I'd had to deal with communicating to really shitty commissioners and also really good commissioners. And because I'd played a lot of multiplayer games with my microphone on, and the biggest thing, because I had streamed before and I'd used OBS. QA testing requires so much audio and video capture that knowing how to use something like OBS, that by itself, which I learned because I wanted to draw, and me wanting to draw led to me wanting to stream so other people could watch me draw, and me wanting to stream better led me to using OBS and learning how OBS functions. Like all of that stuff ended up coming into play in my actual like day job career, even though it was completely seemingly unrelated in my brain. Just because like I literally was in charge of recording the pre-rendered footage for the Life is Strange remastered games because I was the only person there who knew how to use OBS and DaVinci Resolve for editing. Like that was the reason. I was hired as a QA tester. We're still a relatively small studio. So that task was assigned to me. I was the one in charge of recording the footage from the game and then converting it into the appropriate files for us to actually use in the built version of the game that got sent out. Just because I had a skill of how to stream so that I could draw for people. Like that whole connection happened. I literally got my first job at Target by saying I'm good at teamwork because I've used my microphone in Team Fortress 2 a lot and I know how to communicate with people. That's literally how I got my first job, was by saying I play Team Fortress 2. Because skills are never one and done. You don't learn Microsoft Word and say, "Oh, I know Microsoft Word." You say, "I understand how word processors operate." Yeah, I may know Unreal Engine better than Unity, but I can still learn Unity because a lot of those skills transfer over. Like it's learning a different language, right? Like once you've started learning a different language, learning other new languages is way easier because it's just grammar. It's just different rules. But it's the same concept. Like you're still communicating a single idea, you're just using a different means of doing it. Yeah, Cam learning team management because of raid leading for WoW. Yeah. That's part of why I really wanted to get into fitness too. Fitness is still terrifying to me. I still don't know how to keep myself accountable for it. That's the hardest part. But one of the reasons I wanted to get into fitness is just because being physically fit means I can draw longer because I don't get tired as quickly. I'm shit at fitness. I'm so bad at it, but it's not because I don't enjoy fitness. I love working out. I fucking wanted to work out because I was like, just like, Ninja Warrior's really cool. What if I was on the show one day? I don't care if I'm on the show or not, but if I was, like, it would be really cool to be able to do a backflip or whatever, or hang for 30 seconds from a bar. Like, I didn't keep up with it consistently because I had other things take priority. And like, you know, again, the skills, the basic learning stuff, like I'm at the point where I'm not a beginner, right? Like I understand what working out is. I understand how to look up resources, but I don't know what resources to look up. So it's hard because I'm trying to come up with some sort of like lesson plan. I'm trying to like come up with a lesson plan for myself, which is counterintuitive to again what I've just talked to you guys about. Like I can't just go to drawbox.com and start doing all the Drawbox stuff when I have no reason to do it. I'm not going to go to a fitness workout website and be like, okay, I'm just going to pick this random workout and do it because hopefully it works for me. Like I have to have a reason to do it. I have to have like a desire. And that's the thing that's been hard to figure out so far. And there's been some people that have helped me with that a little bit, but you know, again, accountability is hard. Like I've been depressed for 3 weeks. If somebody just said draw sky, like maybe I would have followed through with it. Maybe I would have been like, shut the fuck up. Who knows? You can't be consistent all the time. That's the other thing. There's the specifically Dark Gem. Actually, I was chatting with him about like me being frustrated with not drawing the stuff that I wanted to draw and having trouble with it. And he just sent me the fucking meme of like the person saying that like it's the universe telling you that this is just a shit day. Go home. Like that whole TikTok or whatever it is. That's just the elephant dude saying some days fucking suck. That doesn't mean tomorrow will suck, but today sucks and it's fine. That happens. So like you're not always going to be peak performance, you're not always going to be an expert, but you're also not ever going to be like a nothing nobody, like bare bones starting from zero because you're already however many years old. Like it's impractical to think of yourself that way. Hi Zific. It's silly when you say it like that, but that's what wordsmithing is for. What was that referring to? Because I just went on a huge tangent and I don't remember which part of it that would be related to that in particular. The part about drawing macro memes or the part about the WoW raids? I'm just gonna draw more fluff. Oh yeah, and you know how I got better at fluff? Because I read some things from people that were just like, don't do this. Don't do Sonic the Hedgehog Yu Yu Hakusho, right? Sonic the Hedgehog and Yu Yu Hakusho exist, so clearly it's not wrong to have spikes that are all the exact same distance apart, but it gives off a certain vibe, right? So it's not don't do that. It's if you want it to look a certain way, you can do this. You can break up how thick they are, you can change direction, you can have the hairs split at different parts. So like this looks more like natural fur, right? Compared to this. But again, if I was to draw like a cartoon hedgehog, this is not necessarily wrong either. And especially if I drew this is not a hedgehog because hedgehogs have spines. So you can't just like take everybody's word for like fact. You can't if somebody's just like this is how something needs to be done. You don't question them. You don't say, "Are you sure?" because then you're questioning their authenticity, you're questioning their authority, and that hurts them and their emotions, because everybody's a brittle, fragile human and nobody knows how to take criticism, and that's not like a knock on anybody, it's just like literally how it goes. You ask them why. And if they can't explain why, then like that just means that they're not sure because they learned it from somewhere else and they never got the answer. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It just means that like you need more information to actually understand the reason.